Hello everyone, this is Saif from B4ASCode.com. Today I'm going to show you how to set up the Salesforce project. Once you have downloaded the file we have sent you earlier, extract it and you'll find 5 items. First item is the B4A Salesforce project. This project is used for the salesman. B4A libraries. Just in case you have libraries missing, copy these files and paste them in your B4A additional libraries. B4J Web Admin or Web App. This application is used by the admin to manage the salesman and the client's information. JRDC2, this is the web services used by the B4A project to communicate with the Microsoft SQL database. Then we will have the B4X Salesforce.back. This file is a backup file from the SQL, so we have to import this backup file in the Microsoft SQL. So first we'll have to start with the Microsoft SQL server. We have to go to the start, all programs, Microsoft SQL server. The minimum version has to be 2014, so you can use 2014 or higher. And the steps will be the same. So expand the folder, configuration tools, SQL Server 2014 configuration manager. Go to the SQL Server services. In case you see the SQL Server agent state stopped, right-click, Properties, Services, Start Mode, Automatic. It's very important you activate this service. It's responsible for sending and receiving the queries to the SQL. Click OK. Even if it was state stopped, the start mode has to be automatic. So it will start accordingly. Then we have to go to the SQL Server Network Configuration, Protocols. You'll find 2 protocols that are disabled, the named pipe and the TCP IP. The named pipes, right-click, Enable. It will say, the message box will say you have to restart the SQL Server. We'll do that after we finish the TCP IP. Same message. Right-click on TCP IP. After you have enabled it, Properties, IP addresses, scroll all the way down. TCP port has to be 1433. This port is reserved by the Microsoft SQL and it's the default port to use if you want to connect to the Microsoft SQL remotely. So the TCP port has to be 1433. Click OK. Same message box, click OK. Go to the SQL Server services, select the SQL Server, right-click, restart. And the service has started again. After we have finished that, we have to go to the Start menu, All Programs, Microsoft SQL Server. Then we have to open the SQL Server 2014 Management Studio. Connect to server. Choose the server name. You can choose the default instance. Authentication if you have a username and password. If you don't, just use Windows Authentication. Connect. Expand the databases. Right-click, Restore, Device. Then select the .back file, this file, to restore it. Click OK. Click OK. You can change the name here or you can change the name later. Restored. Now the database has been restored successfully. Once we have restored the database, we have to go back to Microsoft SQL Server, then Security, Logins, right-click, add a new login, select any name. In my case, I'm going to select SA2, and the password will be SA@123, SA@123. Enforce password policy, no need. Then we have to go to the server roles, sysadmin, user mapping, select the database you want this user to manage, DB owner, click OK. if you see this message in Microsoft SQL Server 2014, it has a bug. It says it could not be created and a problem occurred. Click OK. It's okay. Then click cancel. Why? Because the user has already been created, but Microsoft has a bug. So to test this user SA2, click on connect, then select the server name, Windows Authentication, SQL Server Authentication, choose SA2, and the password we have just entered, SA2 at 123. Click connect. And the user has connected successfully, and we can see the tables and store procedures. After that, we have to open the port 1433 in the firewall, Windows firewall. So go to the Start menu, Control Panel, then Firewall. Go to the Advanced Settings, Inbound Rules, New Rule, Port, Next, 1433. Allow the connection, make sure it's allowed. Next, next, give it a name, SQL 1433. Click Finish. And the same thing goes for the outbound rules. New rule, port 1433. Next, allow the connection. Next, next, give it a name, SQL 1433. Done. Make sure to open the B4J webadmin.b4j. First, we have to go to the Start menu, CMD, write IP config. Then make sure to get the IPv4 address. And put the IP address here. This IP address is your server or your PC, depending on where did you install the Microsoft SQL. Here is the database name, and here's the username and password we created earlier. Scroll all the way down. Here you will see the project URL. Make sure it's 127.0.0.1 51042/login.html. Click on Run. You have to click on Run to browse the project. You can't just run the HTML files. So you have to run the project within the B4J web admin. Then press on Ctrl on your keyboard, left click on the URL, and your browser will open. Now the login page loaded. The default username is user1, the password is 123. You can change them later on in the Microsoft SQL database. Login. Once we have logged in, we can see the dashboard. Here is the menu, left menu, the clients, warehouses, sales, HR, accounting, and users. The users are the users who uses the system admin. For example, we can go to warehouse. If you click on the blue button, you can edit the entry, or cancel, you can go back to the previous screen. Add a new warehouse, test warehouse. And click on submit. As you can see here, it's here. You can delete it by pressing on delete. These actions exist on almost every page in the system. Here you can add the products. So now we have to set up the JRDC. Go to the same folder, JRDC2. Don't open it yet. Open the files. Right click, config properties, right click. edit, and use the same IP address we entered earlier. Click Save. Then go back to the project. And click on Run. The project now is running, the JRDC2. Then we have to go back to the B4A Salesforce, open the project, here the RDC link, same IP address, and the 17178, the port of the JRDC2. So make sure you open this port number in your firewall. The same thing, the same steps as we did with the Microsoft SQL 1433 port. Once we have done that, the project now is ready.